Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of George Gwinnett College. Welcome back to, of course, the Grizzly Talk podcast with your host, Kennedy Patterson. And before we get on to this special episode, we have a little bit of sponsorships, of course, sponsored by Flex Living and Glow Cocoa. You guys can go to the K.L.P. Entertainment's official e-store to shop your shopping apparels for GTP. Use our code, Kennedy Lucas KLP, of course, to use that code. Now, let's get on to this podcast. We're in the studio, but we're not doing a standalone this week. We have a special, two lovely lady guests, of course, representing the GGC Law Society. We have Sonia and Sam, and you guys know how I do it on this podcast show. I like to let them introduce themselves, maybe their classification for GGC, and we'll get on to the questions. So, go ahead.
Hey guys, my name is Sonia, and I'm the president for the Law Society here at GGC. I'm a senior. I graduate in the summer. I'm super excited for this session, and we'll talk in a few. I hand it over to Sam.
Hi, my name's Sam. I'm the vice president of the Law Society. I'm also a senior, but I graduate next spring, and I'm a psychology major.
Alrighty, so we have, again, a special guest. Thank you, ladies, for coming on the show. We're streaming now on Spotify, Pandora, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartradio, you name it, we're out there. So, let's get on to the questions. The GGC Law Society, what was your thought process about bringing back, we talked before off record, bringing back this RSO? What was that your mindset like? What was the planning like for bringing this RSO back?
I think it's hard to answer that question without mentioning Beth Gutierrez. She graduated last semester. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, but I think the vision behind her was the need. We saw the need. There was a lot of students interested in law school. Where do we go for information? The process can be so hard, so confusing. So I think the vision there when I first started as a treasurer was it was needed. It was needed on campus for resources, for connections, for networking. So I think that's the vision behind why we started it all over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's really good. You mentioned that you're bringing it back, and we talked off record. You know, it's really amazing to see RSOs to bring an RSO back when it's been out there and then it's been down for a minute and then coming right back up. This is an essential need because we do have a law program here at GGC, to which my big brother, little brother, hopefully you guys would meet him one day. He's in the in that criminal justice kind of field there. So we're here on their GGC Instagram account. It's ggc.lawsociety. Got a good following. Now, your statement here is providing students resources for the law school process. Now, when you're saying providing students, how many students that are a part of this society, and what's that environment like when you go to your standard Tuesday meetings? What's that environment like? What's the culture like for that?
We're like a family. We do icebreakers. We get to know each other very well, and we're all there to help each other, It's about making it easier for everyone. A lot of the students in the Law Society are first-gen college students, let alone not having any parents or family members that have gone to law school. So it's a very scary process and very intimidating, and we're just here to make that easier and more informational for them.
Yeah, and I think Sam touched on very key parts. Family is what we strive for. Starting a culture, starting a legacy, if you can call it that, not just this semester, not just to have it on a resume, but to have people around you that you can really count on. And touching on that first generation, I think that's my biggest motivation. I'm first gen. My parents didn't even graduate high school, so college for me was a big deal. And to let them know, hey, I'm thinking about grad school now, law school. It's overwhelming, but it made it hard. And I think a lot of minorities and non-minorities also think they have this cliche of law school where it's too expensive, it's too hard, it's not for us. And it's so far from the truth, so far from the truth. I think if you get educated, if you plug yourself in with the right people, which is what the Law Society is trying to do, we can break those barriers. There are scholarships, there are resources, and the application process can be many steps, but we can help you get there.
Okay.
So I don't think I would be going to law school if it wasn't for the Law Society. To have those people constantly around you, motivating you, like, hey, you can do it. Let's just baby steps. Let's work on this. So I think that for me is the key point, because the statistics are against us. When it comes to African American, they make up to almost 13-15% of the population. There's less than 3% lawyers. The Latinos are almost 20%, population, and we're less than 2%. So we're not there. We're not represented in that field. So it's to change that, to even change one person's life, it would
it's a milestone.
Yeah.
You really did your homework. I learned something just now today. I did not know those stats until you just said it. That's really amazing. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen of GGC, of course, it's all about networking. We've had a guest on here before. We talked about networking. Sometimes it can go both ways. It's about what you know, but sometimes it's about who you know. So I really encourage the GGC students to join us if you're in the law program, to get a part of this, because that network connections, you never know. Speaking of network connections, I did see here, we're relating back to y'all's Instagram, it's ggc.lawsociety. Again, that's ggc.lawsociety. We'll have it in the description so you guys can follow them on their Instagram. You guys had the University of Georgia coming to GGC.
Yeah.
And this was about this time last year.
Yes.
And as I see this, how is that like? Because, GA, that's our fellow Georgia school there, home of the Bulldogs. What was that experience like, having UGA here?
It's good. They come, they give you information, you get application fee waivers, but not only that, you get their personal business cards. And I remember specifically when Georgia State came to speak to us as well, she was like, when you apply, email me directly and tell me that you're applying. And she remembers us. They come back. We actually have Mercer coming on February 18th.
Wow. A shout out to my pops. He went to Mercer.
Really? Yeah. So we have a representative from Mercer coming on February 18th to speak to us. And it's a really good networking opportunity because they do remember you.
Yeah. They have a huge law program. Yeah. My dad, believe it or not, he got his criminal justice associate's degree.
Nice.
He got his bachelor's and master's in nursing.
Nice.
But that's a huge program, and I really encourage students to come out to that, because I've been to Mercer, the one in Atlanta and one in Macon. Huge campus, and they're really, really good on their law program, alongside with video production too. But it's really, really amazing to see that growth for sure, for a big school to come up for that. And it really is amazing. So the next question is spring of 2020. I think you kind of answered the question about some of the ideas and some of the events you got going on for spring of 2020. What's the goal like? What's more events that maybe you can say on record that you have planned up for spring of 2020 that way our fellow GDC students,
We have a full plate.
I like that.
We are excited. We have many different events right now. Like you said, law schools are visiting, so we're waiting back to hear from UGA and Georgia State. They'll be coming on campus also. So we're excited about that. We also have our biggest event of the semester, which I'm hoping can just start a tradition. It's to start GGC culture in a sense. It's called Debate Night. So we're ironing out, and you're probably the first person to hear it. We haven't been very vocal about it. Yeah. So Debate Night, the vision for it is huge. Basically, the motivation behind it, or the purpose, is hot topics. There will be hot topics like politics, abortion, vaccinations, topics that you see very different perspectives.
You see those everyday politics.
Yes. So, and I don't think it's bad to have different views on different topics. I think we need to practice being able to respect each other, look at different perspectives, and leave the table still loving one another. Yeah. And this is that. So hopefully we can bring together. We're actually looking for ourselves to collab with. I think maybe 20 or so. We've talked to about 3. Everyone that we've pitched it to, they're on it. So if any are so wants to collab, more than welcome to, hit us up with a DM or an email.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I'm even trying to get faculty in it. And it would be really nice to see faculty debating.
I'm pretty sure faculty would do it.
So we're excited. Other than that, we're going to the courthouse to see a criminal trial.
Okay. The one in Atlanta?
No, the one in Gwinnett County.
Gwinnett County.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're waiting for a date on that. I think it would be a Tuesday. So more information on that is coming.
Okay.
Also, a big thing with law students or pre-law students are the LSAT. The LSAT is an admission test that you need to score relatively good if you want to get into law schools.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest factors that they look at when applying, and we're having LSAT sessions, study sessions.
That's really important too.
Anybody,
I'm glad you guys are doing that because tests like that are huge. And is it the bar that's after
law school?
So that's really good that you're applying students to study hard now, so that way they can be prepared when going into law school and then prepare for that bar test after the program. So it's really good that you guys are advocating that out there too. Is that something that you guys are sponsoring with the RSO? Is that something GGC is kind of sponsoring with? Or?
So our RSO is sponsoring it. We were able to use our money from our RSO to purchase the Bible trilogy books, which are super expensive. We got 6 of them. And those are actually open to any GGC student who wants to check it out out of the liberal arts office. I actually just took my LSAT about a month and a half ago. Yeah. And not the score I want, so I'm retaking it in March.
Right. That's okay. I mean, it's not a race. It's, as long as you get it done, that's all that really matters in college nowadays.
When it comes to that, the vision is pretty big. Like I've committed and I've told them I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? Like once this is something I want to give back. I want to be able to give back what I was given. So hopefully when I'm a law student, I'll be back and we can do training and courses, but it would even be nice to have hire an LSAT tutor and come because they're super, super expensive. And that's a disadvantage to some students who don't have the money or the resources to get that help. Therefore, creating a barrier to even go into that field. So if we can do that with sponsoring or sponsorship or funding or money, all hands on deck. Yeah, we're excited.
That's so amazing. Now, is there any other maybe RSOs that really draws your eye that you would like to definitely partnership? Maybe they could be listening to this podcast for sure.
Well, I am part of SGA. I'm the Chief Justice for the Judicial branch. Yeah.
Well, I'll see you on Thursday, I believe. We have another podcast coming up on Thursday.
I got an email on that. So SGA is pretty supportive. I think especially this administration, they have a good concept. They want to help you. You're inside behind the curtains. You see the meetings. You see how much the work goes in.
So ladies and gentlemen, a lot of work that goes into SGA for sure. I ran into the president walking here to this podcast. He was like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" So it's a lot of work with SGA for sure. Maybe OLAS,
OLAS, yes. I was part of OLAS last semester.
Wow.
I love OLAS. Yes.
You heard everything.
Wow, that's amazing though. That is amazing.
And OLAS, I think, was what kind of gave me the courage to join other RSOs or even to think to become president of one. OLAS is very welcoming. The culture there is just awesome. Once you enter a meeting for OLAS, it's straight family. It's I achieved to have something like that for the Law Society one day. I knew the president last year, Derek. Shout out to him and Luis. He's the president today. Awesome. Yeah, he's awesome. So OLAS is pretty big. ICMA is another group that's working really hard to get their foot in, and we know their president, their VP. They're awesome. So there's a couple of RSOs off the top of my head that.
Black Student Union as well.
Yeah, we've reached out to them.
We've reached out to them too. Get them on the podcast for sure. It really is amazing. You ladies are really tackling a lot of great RSOs out there to get this thing out. I'm very impressed about you guys are buying the books and you're giving that out to GGC students because it is true. College is hard. Funding is hard. Maybe some students may not have the funds to go find these resources, and you guys are able to bring that out to the GGC students is really amazing. And that's, we talked off record, that's one of the things that I admire about certain RSOs, that going that extra mile, making it brilliant, going that extra step for our GGC community. It really is amazing for sure. Now, before we close out here on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I want to reassure you guys the Instagram accounts, of course, it's ggc.law society. We're plugging that up really heavy because they have a good following there. It really is amazing. You guys can follow them. The best way to reach out to you guys is email, or is it direct message? Which one would be the best to reach out?
I think email comes straight to us, but we have Christine. She's our social media and marketing director, so she handles our Instagram. I mean, either way, whatever the student feels more comfortable, easier with, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll be sure to do that. One last question I've had, and you mentioned debate night.
Yes.
And I kind of want to dabble into that a little bit more. So what's the mindset? What's your mind process like when you're setting up? You're setting up the tables. You're setting up maybe possible flyers and advertisements.
Yes.
Down to maybe you might need a mediator to kind of mediate the debate, so that way, of course, it doesn't get out of hand.
Right.
What's that whole process like? Is that like a month of planning, or what's the mind process like on that?
I think when we first spoke about it,
We
it was
first started
months ago.
speaking about this last year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably the beginning of last semester, sometime in the summer maybe, is when we started thinking, hey, we really want to do a big event.
Okay.
And we wanted to do it last semester. We were like, there's no way this is going to happen. There's no way we can get that done in one semester. So we shot for this semester, and that's what we're going to do.
And it's exciting.
Yeah.
I get butterflies in my
It
stomach.
really is. It's like an event, and
Yeah.
I've in my classes now. I guess because we're all like in our senior year, so we have a lot of students who are which is good in this country, to be honest. And a lot of our higher, seniors and junior students, they're very opinionated.
Yeah.
They have
Yes.
an opinion on anything.
Yes.
And today this happened. I shout out to Dr. Wesker. She was talking about politics and President Trump, and a lot of students spoke up about this, and she was nervous because that's a sore subject to talk about. But it really is amazing to see the amount of students who has their inputs, they have their ideas.
Right.
So I'm very excited for that, for sure. To have that big event out there, students, that's something that I would definitely come out to.
Yes.
Just to hear the voices of the GGC community for sure. And we would love to have you guys for our GTP Spotlight. So let us know when that event comes out. We can post it on our Instagram for sure to make sure the students come out to that. When they're free, they're not busy with schoolwork, they can come out to something like that. Is it like a formal attire? Or do they become casual?
No, you can come casual.
Yeah, casual.
It's going to be a Friday night, more likely,
Friday night under the lights then? Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, of course, we're going to end this podcast here for sure. It's GGC Law Society. Before we do that, though, I almost forgot. We like to do shout-outs here on the podcast show, the Crazy Talk Podcast. Now, you can shout out your friends, your best friends, your families, your loved ones, significant other, whatever you want to do. We had a guest that shout out her dog one time, and she gave him a shout-out, so the floor is yours.
Start.
Okay. I don't know. I want to shout out everybody.
First,
our officers, Sam, bigging up Sam. She's awesome to have around 100% all the time. Giovanna, Trey and Amar. We have Bree. We have Anaya. We have Christine. Am I missing any of our officers? Simi, she just got on board. Dr. All officers. Dr. Young, which is she's here. She's a political science professor. Scott Boykin has been awesome backing us up. I'm married, so my husband,
absolutely.
His name is Damien. Nothing of this would be possible without him. Who else? I don't know. I think I'm done.
I want to shout out Sonia. She does so much. She took on so much last semester. From being vice president and then suddenly having to become president, she stepped up and she does so much work for us, and she puts her heart and soul to this, and you can tell she really cares about every single one of us. And I appreciate her so much for that. So there's my shout out. And Dr. Boykin, he's real cool.
And just the professors here. The professors here are awesome. I think they just make our job easy. They're just always there, always promoting, always flexible with what we got going on. So
shout out to facilities for sure.
Yes.
I do want to bring on this podcast. I don't want to end on a sad note, but Dr. Thomas Gulak, I want to my condolences for him and his family. A lot of GGC students know him well. He passed away, of course, a couple days ago. He was in Maryland and was involved in a hit-and-run accident. So, huge shout-out to his family for sure. We are so sorry here from GGC community, and we hope it gets better with time. I haven't had the pleasure to really meet him personally, but from the post and what I've seen in pictures, he seemed like a very awesome professor to the GGC community. So I wanted to give a quick little shout out.
I want to add one more thing. Our first meeting is January 21st at 2 o'clock, so it'll be bi-weekly after that. So just the dates are there, the email's coming, the flyers are coming, so just look out, hit us up, any information, we're glad to.
Absolutely.
Sign up on presents.
Yes.
Absolutely, and send your flyer to us. We'll have it out for GTP Spotlight and also the new segment we like to call the GTP Green Room. We just started that a couple days ago, but we'll be shouting that out for sure. Shout out to you, Sam. In a true story, I was in. A lot of people know I do work full time, so I was in my work office and I got the message that, hey, I'm representing Law Society. Is it too late to do a podcast tomorrow? I'm like, it's never too late. So I got home, I charged my equipment, and it was just funny how that happened because I was at work and my coworkers and my other workers were like, hey, what you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm planning a podcast for tomorrow while working. So shout out to you, Sam, reaching out. We're glad that you came on the podcast show for sure. So that's going to wrap it up here for the Grizzly Talk podcast with your host, Kennedy Patterson. Please be sure to check out the Law Society. Again, one last plug, their GGC Instagram account. That is ggc.lawsociety. Of course, that's ggc.lawsociety if you guys want to follow their Instagram. And we'll be sure to have more news from them on our Instagram at grizzly_talk. Until then, that's gonna do it for the Grizzly Talk podcast. Host Kennedy Patterson, and we'll hear you guys in the next podcast show. Go Grizzlies!
Thank you.
Oh, oh.